Hello and welcome to the New Year's Eve edition of Cracking the Cryptic. And today we're going to be taking a look at a puzzle that is quite startling to look at. The author is the brilliant Scott Strosahl, who I know some of you will recognise from the wonderful puzzle hunts that he set for us earlier in the year. And as he puts it himself, I think a lot of people are hoping for a miracle in 2021, especially with regard to the COVID situation. So he's made a miracle Sudoku with a COVID theme, with a 2021 theme. Look at this. Literally, that is all we get. We get an irregular grid and 2 killer cages with a 20 and a 21 and some miracle Sudoku rules. And this is actually the third puzzle in a row we'll have done with a very, very minimal number of digits. But I am reliably informed this is a wonderful puzzle, and it certainly looks incredible to me. Now, before we get started with it, a couple of things to mention. Crossword content. I have heard from a bird who should know that the independent crossword today in the UK is rather unusual because every single clue references a news event that occurred in 2020. So I'm quite keen to do that, and if I get a chance, I'll certainly record my solve. So look out for that in the next. Well, I'll try and get it up soon. Also, I just want to say a big thank you today to all of our setters. If you're a setter who's appeared on Cracking the Cryptic in the last 12 months. I think we all owe you a debt of gratitude. The amount of entertainment you've provided me and the thousands of people who watch the channel is, it's not really quantifiable, especially in these times. So huge thanks. You have continued to amaze us with your wit, with your cleverness, and with these beautiful, beautiful Sudokus. Anything else to mention? I want to give, I've only had one solution overnight to the Patreon Sudoku hunt by Stefan Bura and Akash Jain. So I think now is the time where we can safely release the solution video. So if you are a patron, look out for the solution video imminently. And well done to some guy named John, as he'd like to be known, because he provided the correct solution last night. Brilliant performance by anybody who managed to solve the hunt correctly. Now, what are the rules of Scott's puzzles? Well, we do have very close to classic miracle Sudoku rules. We have normal Sudoku rules apply, except obviously we've got no 3x3 block boxes in this puzzle. We have irregular 9-cell regions. So each of these 9-cell regions, that's going to be called the camel region by the looks of it. That one can be the Brachiosaurus or the Diplodocus or the Diplodocus. Gosh, I've probably entered into a world of controversy. Something we try and avoid on Cracking the Cryptic. But yeah, each of these 9-cell regions needs to contain all of the digits from 1 to 9 once each. Digits in 2 orthogonally connected cells may not be consecutive. So those 2 cells, for example, cannot contain 2. If that was a 3, this could not be a 2 or a 4. What else? We've got cells separated by a knight's move or a king's move in chess cannot contain the same digits. So, if this square here was a 1, this square, let's find all of the knight's move connectivity. That's what we should do. All of those squares could not contain a 1, obviously, as well as the usual Sudoku rules, ruling 1 out from all of those squares and all of the other cells in its box. And the king's move constraint, well, again, a chess king could move to that square and that square, for example, so neither of these squares could be a 1 either. So it's sort of an immediate diagonal constraint is one way to consider it, on top of the basic Sudoku rules. And then, of course, we have some minimal killer cages. So in killer cages, these 3 cells, for example, have to add up to 20 without repeating a digit, and that's all there is. So a fascinating looking puzzle. I'm looking forward to trying it. Do have a go yourselves. The way to play is to click the link under the video. Now let's get cracking. Now the only thing I can see about this puzzle we can possibly focus on at all is the 21 cage. And I do know that a 6-cell 21 cage must contain the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 because all of the digits have to be different, and that's what you get if you add up those digits. So we can do that. Now we know within this 6-cell region we can't have consecutive cells, but that's not helpful, is it? The 20 cage, 20 in 3 cells has a surprising number of possibilities. I mean, it could contain a digit as low as a 3, or it could be 5, 7, 8, for example, or lots of things in between. So I'm not actually sure what we're going to do here. What are we meant to appreciate? So presumably there must be some cells that see an awful lot of these cells. So that cell, yes, that cell as well. That cell nearly, but no, let's look at these 2 cells. Now the reason I've picked these 2 cells is a bit of miracle Sudoku experience, but what can go in this square? Let's think about really whether it could be a digit that appears in the 21 cage. If this is a 1, you can see that the 1 in the 21 cage couldn't appear in any of those squares, but it also couldn't appear in those 2 squares because these are a king's move away from this 1. So this square is not too difficult to see. It cannot be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. So that one is 7, 8 or 9. This one I can see is almost the same, but this time we can make use of the king's constraint on those 2 and the knight's move constraint on those 2 to reach the same conclusion. So this is 7, 8 or 9 as well. This one is not quite as good because it can't reach, this cell here can't reach those 2. It needs a Tigger bounce to do that. It's only got a knight's move at its disposal. Those 2 maybe? No, see that one's nearly brilliant. You can get rid of those by Sudoku, this by Sudoku, this by king's move, this by knight's move, but this cell could be the same as that digit. So that's both of those are the same because of course this is symmetrical in around this axis. So what am I missing here? Oh, sorry, I know. These two can't be consecutive. So neither of these can be an 8. Because if you put an 8 in either of these squares, it will be next to a 7 or a 9. Oh, that's lovely. Now, okay, so this domino is a 7-9 pair. What does that mean? I'm sure it means something. I don't think it's having an effect on the 20 cage because obviously these 2 cells are really not impacted by those 2 cells. This must be where we look though. There's nothing else in the puzzle to look at. Do we have to... So I can see this square can't be 7 or 9, and neither can those 2 squares actually, because if you try and put 7 or 9 in either of those squares, it will see both of these because of the knight's move constraint. So these can't be 7 or 9. Oh, now I've just had a thought here. This can't be 7 or 9 either, obviously, because of the king's move constraint. So what I'm wondering is if you put these, let's label with green cells that can't be 7 or 9. So the 7 and 9 in this cage here in the top right corner, we've got 4 cells to choose from. Now if we put the 7 and the 9 in row 1, then I've got to fit, then I get a 7-9 pair here in these 2 squares in this region, because you can't put 7-9 in those 4. 7-9 is not possible in the 21 cage. 7-9 is not possible here because of the 7-9 pair. So the 7 and the 9 would go into those 2 positions. I'm just wondering, does that break the... Oh, it's beautiful. It does. It breaks the 20 cage. Because if you... Let's think about this. It doesn't matter which way around the 7 or the 9 go. The point, I think, is that these squares see every cell in the 20 cage. So this one sees that one by Sudoku, that one by king's move, that one by knight's move. This one sees those 2 by Sudoku and that by knight's move. So what if these are a 7-9 pair, we now have to make 20 without using 7 and 9. And 8, 6 and 5 only add up to 19. That is absolutely lovely. I'm not sure how far it gets us, but it does. Yes, it does get us somewhere, doesn't it? Because now I know I can't put 7 and 9 in the top row, so this square has to be a 7 or a 9. Right, okay, so 1 of 7 and 9 is in the top row, and then maybe I have to colour them, because whatever this is can't be here. So this one and this one are the same digit. This one will make an appearance in one of those two squares because it can't be there because of the knight's move constraint. So there's a purple in one of those two cells. And that means I've still got to put a purple. Oh, lovely. Yeah. So where does the purple go in this region? It can't go in these squares, it can't go in these 3 squares, and it can't go there because it will be a knight's move away. So that square is purple. And that square... Right, so whatever is in this square does not appear in the 20 cage because this square sees the whole of the 20 cage. Whoa, there is something going on here, isn't there? So, what is going on exactly? So whatever this digit is can't appear in the 20 cage. And then whatever that digit is can't appear in those two cells of the 20 cage. So given that we know we need one of these digits to be a 7 or a 9, it must be this one that is a 7 or a 9, and it must go in that square. So this is a 7 or a 9. I'm now wondering about the consecutive constraint, because if this is 7, what do I put into those two squares to add up to 13? I can't put 6, 7 in, that will repeat the 7. I can't put 5, 8 in, because 8 is consecutive with 7. So I have to put 4, 9 in. I mean, that looks possible, doesn't it? So this would have to be 4, 9. Ah, no, it can't be 9, because the 9's in there. If blue is 7, purple is 9, and you can't put 9 in either of those squares because this sees them. Oh, that's gorgeous. So we've done it. Well, we haven't done the puzzle. But this can't be 7. So these squares are all 9. These are 7. And we have digits. We know there's a 7 in one of those two cells. Oh, hang on. I've got to put a 9 in this box. I've got to put a 9 in this box. Where can that go? It can't go in those cells. It can't go... Yes, it's got to go in the top because of everything gets ruled out by a combination of nonsenses. This square sees... Well, it sees that one by Sudoku. That one sees this one by King's Move, this one by King's Move, this one by Sudoku, etc., etc. So the 9 has to go up there. Let's make that blue. So now I've got 9s in the first 4 rows of the grid. I haven't got a 9 in the camel. Where does the 9 go in the camel? It can't go in these because of the King's Move constraint. It can't go in those because of Sudoku. It can't go in here or here because of Sudoku, so it has to go there. So that's a blue 9. So now maybe this region. Where can we put the 9 in this? It can't go in that cell because of the knight's move constraint, but it does have 2 opportunities. 9... Is 9 restricted in the Diplodocus? It can't go in those. It can't go in those. It can't go in here because of the knight's move constraint. So it's got to be in one of those 3 cells, which is not as good as I was hoping, actually. Although that might have quite a profound effect now on this box and where the 9 can go, because 9 can't go in those squares or this square. Now, I'm wondering, yeah, you're going to have real problems with putting a 9 in this square, or this square, because these 3 squares all see every one of those possible places for the 9 in the Diplodocus. So the 9 has to be in one of those 2 cells, which is actually useless. That is annoying, isn't it? Maybe the bottom row then. 9 in the bottom row. It can't go here now because we know there's a 9 in one of those cells. Oh, yes, this is going to be good. It's got to go in one of these 2 cells. But this is lovely, because now you can't put a 9 in either of those 2 squares. Because if you do, you can't put a 9 in either of those positions because of the knight's move constraint. So the 9 goes in the corner. That must be a 9 as well. Those can turn blue. That must be a blue 9 by Sudoku. And that fixes the last 9. And look at that. That is absolutely lovely. So let me just double check. I have got 9 9s sort of symmetrically going down the grid, which is rather cool. And now we've got, I suppose, a choice. There are two weak digits. Oh, I better get rid of that. That is because that's a pop-up because I'm in the middle of doing something called the Pablo's Armchair Treasure Hunt at the moment. And yeah, my team are still working away on that. If you've not heard of it or not looked at it, I definitely recommend it, although it is an enormous time suck. Now, so the 2 weak digits, I can't remember if I told you what I thought they were, but one of them is a 7, because obviously I have some 7s. The other one is the 8, because now, when I've got 9s in the grid, I can't... Yeah, see, like, where do I put an 8 in that region? If I can't put it... Oh, no, it has got options. It's got to go in one of those 3 cells, so it's not as good as I thought. But obviously, I think the 9 must restrict the possible positions of 8s in some of these boxes. Although, especially where we have a 7 as well, actually. That's a good point, because the 7 is consecutive with the 8. Yeah, where does 8 go in here? It can't go there. It can't... Yes, where does 8 go in this box? Because it can't be next to a consecutive digit, it's ruled out of all those squares. We know it's not in there. So that square is 8. 8 almost needs its own colour, doesn't it? And that 8 is huge in terms of the camel, because it rules 8 out of these cells. King's move, knight's move, 8 goes in there. Oh, Scott, you've hit a winner with this one. This is just beautiful. Now 8 in this region gets locked into one of these 2 cells. But this one here is consecutive with 9, so the 8 goes there. Now, 8. Look at that. Where does 8 go in this box now? Just we can do straight Sudoku. Well, and a little bit of knight's move with this option here. And we get the 8 into that cell. Now this sees those 2 by the weirdities that we're using. So we can get rid of those options. This must be 8. Now 8 must be restricted in this box, presumably. It can't be there. It can't be here or here. Oh, no, that's not as good. It can't be there. But it can, I think, be in both of those positions. So we don't quite know about the 8 in this box. What about this box here? It can't be in those cells. It can't be in this cell. Ah, yeah, here we go. So it's got to be in one of those 2 cells, which fixes it in the box below. And we get the 8 there. And we've got this sort of pattern emerging with the 8s, haven't we? Which is a bit suggestive that this cell's going to be an 8. Let's check. So this can't be 8. these can't be 8. This can't be 8 by knight's move. This can't be 8. Yeah, so this is 8. There is clearly a pattern emerging in the grid. So now, which boxes have I not put 8 into? Is it, how many 8s have I got? I've got 7. I need 2 more. One of them is here. So one of them's got to be in there. Now that must be placeable, surely. 8's not in those cells. Get rid of the green, actually. That shouldn't be there anymore. 8 can't be in either of those squares, because then it will be consecutive with the 7 whenever I put the 7 in. So 8 can't be there. So 8 has to be there, I think. Oh, this 8 here is seeing that 8 as well. That fixes the 7, because we can't have the 7 next to it. Otherwise it will be consecutive. So there we go. We've done that as well. 7 and the 8 are placed. So now I'm going to be looking hard at 7. I think I've got all the 8s. That certainly seems to be 9 8s. So 7. Where is the weak box regarding the 7's position? This one, surely, because I've got 8 looking all over the place at it, and 7's looking at it. So, yep, it's only going to go there. 7's ruled out of those squares. The 8 rules it out of those squares. This puzzle might just crack now, because once you get a few digits in a miracle Sudoku, they normally crack with reasonable amount of alacrity. Probably famous last words. Yeah, where does 7 go in this region? We can rule it out of lots of squares by Sudoku. And this square, because of it would be next to an 8, so it's got to go there. So 7's are all purple, aren't they? And I've got 6 of them. And I've not got one in row 4. Well, it can't go in any of those. Oh, so this is the only place it can go in row 4. So that becomes a 7. I've not got ones in rows 8 and 9. So in row 8, well, it can't go here because I need to put one in row 9, and that's going to have to be in this box. So it has to go here. So that becomes purple. And now where do we put one in the bottom? It can't be in any of these 4 squares by Sudoku. All these, so it's got to be in one of those 2. That one tells us which one it is. So we get the 7. Now, I'm not going to reveal any secrets here, and here's a knowledge bomb. I'm going to be looking at 6's. Now this 7 rules a 6 out of lots of places in the 21 cage. Which actually doesn't actually look useful at all, does it? Okay, so how do we... Oh, I know what I could do. I haven't done the 20 cage either now. So the 20 cage can't contain... It needs 11 in 2 cells. And it can't have 9, 8 or 7 in it. So this has got 5 or 6 in it. Now one of those is a 6. But it's not consecutive with anything useful. But maybe we can use this on the 21 cage, because... This square can't be a 5 or a 6 anymore because it sees both of those squares. That one does the same. That sees both those squares. It sees this one by the knight's move. So this comes down to... Well, these both come down to 1, 2, 3 or 4. The 6 now, look, is locked into one of those 2 positions. Which is... not... I don't think that's going to be useful. Okay, so how do we fix this? Where is the weak point regarding... One thing I can... Oh no, that can be a 6. I was about to say 6 is limited in the camel, but I don't think it is. I think it's got 3 options still. What about in this region? Those 2 are ruled out. That's ruled out. No, that's also not proving... What? Well, maybe this one then? Sorry, and I know I'm bouncing around a bit here. I'm just trying to spot. I presume it's 6 we have to look at. I mean, it must be 6. Here's a thought. Where does 6 go in this box? Now, it can't go here or here. And it can't go here or here. So it must be in one of those 2 cells. Now, that rules it out of the top row in this right hand box, which means there must be a 6 in one of these two squares. And that does what exactly? Unfortunately, this square doesn't see that one. This one doesn't quite see that one. It's really close. It really is close. Now, so this actually, I'm quite surprised about this. As I said before, the more digits you get in a miracle Sudoku, the more it tends to just fall over and play dead. But there seems to be a bit of a sticking point with the 6. Maybe in this box as well, I can see 6 is incredibly limited. Yes, it is. Where does 6 go in this box? Gosh. This 7 takes care of those two squares. This 7 is lovely and takes care of 3 more squares. So the only place the 6 can go is here. And that rules that one out from being a 6, which gives us this one. That one sees that one. That also gives us a 5. It fixes where the 6 goes in the 21 cage. And we could be about to cook with gas here. Let's see. I still need to put a 6 in row 3. It can't go here. It can't go next to a 7. Good. It's got to go there. Where does it go in row 5 now? It can't go in any of those 3 squares. This one sees those 2, so it can only go here. Where does it go in row 6? Oh, it can't go next to a 7. So all these are ruled out, as it can't share a box with a 6 either. So the 6 must go there. So in this row now, it can't be in those 2. Can't be next to a 7. Can't be in the same box as another 6. So it's got to go here. And now we should be able to place it in the bottom row by just considering which this column needs a 6 in it. So it's got to be that one. And there we go. And now we're going to look at the 5s. Or maybe we can make use of this 5 as well. Yes, we can. Where does the 5 go in the top left region? This, by the knight's move, sees that one. The rest of it's ruled out. So that one. That gets rid of the 5 here. We now know the 5 must be in this domino. That's probably useful because can't. Yeah, it is useful on this region. Where does the 5 go? The 6 takes care of these 3 squares. This 5 pair takes care of that one, which means this has to be a 5. It sees this 5 by knight's move, so that gets that all finished off. We've still got to put a 5 in row 2 of the grid. It can't go there. It can't go here. It can't go here, so it has to go here. That one's done, that one's done, that one's done. 5 can't go in those 2. Can't go in here by Sudoku. It can't go in here because there's already a 5 in its box, so it goes there. This row now can't have 5s there. Ooh, can't have a 5 here or here. This one because the 6 above it, or the 5 here seeing a knight's move. So the 5 goes there. Now let's carry on. These can't be 5s, there's a 5 in the box. This can't be a 5, this can't be a 5 because of the king's move. So this must be a 5, which looks okay. And then in the bottom row, we still need to put a 5 in this column. So let's just check there's a 5 in all the other columns. It's looking good. And now we turn our attention to 4s, which this can't... all of those can't be 4s anymore because they all are adjacent to a 5. So the 4 goes there, which means that can't be a 3, of course. Now, does that just break the puzzle open? It might do. 4 looks... yeah. Where does 4 go in the top row? It can't go in these 2 squares because of the knight's move, and it can't be next to a 5, so it goes there. That means that's not 4. That's not 4 by the knight's move, so this is a 4. Oh, it's a wonderful way to end the year, isn't it? It really is. So this can't be 4 now. One of these has to be a 4, but the 5 says it can't be that one, so this is a 4. These can't be 4s. That can't be 4. Combination of knight's moves and Sudokus, so that must be 4. That's a king's move away. These are both seen, so this is a 4. In this row, that can't be 4. That's more tricky maybe. That one can't be 4 actually, so the 4 goes here. And in this row, looks like that might have to be the 4. It does. And in this row, we have not got a 4 in this column, so it's got to go there, and that looks perfect. Nice. So we just now 3s. Where does 3? Yeah, okay. Where does 3 go in this shape? It's got to go in the top row. That forces the 3 into this position. In the next row down, this 3, and well, this can't be a 3. It would be next to a 4, so the 3 goes there. That forces the 3 out of this square. That forces the 3 out of this square. That forces the 3 into this position. This position. This position. And in the bottom row, it must be this position, I hope, or I've made a mistake. Yep, that looks good. So now we just need to see where the 3 is limiting the position of a 2. There must be one of these 3. Here we go. This shape here. This 3 is seeing that one, so that can't be 2, must be 1. That gives us the 1 and the 2, gives us the 1 and the 2 in this shape, that gives us the 1 and the 2 in this shape, the 1 and the 2 in this shape, the 1 in this shape. This must be a 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, check. That is how to solve Scott Strosahl's wonderful 2021 Miracle Sudoku. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. The logic at the start is so tight but clever, and yeah, loved it. Loved every moment of it. Thank you very much to Scott. Thank you all for watching the channel. This last 12 months have been fairly extraordinary, I think, for everybody. And we'll see you later for another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.